You see, today's topic is going to be very different. Yesterday, something unique happened. I decided to quit video games a long time ago, and yesterday, the urge to play video games was so strong. I almost defaulted on this my belief. But after 10 minutes of a breakdown, after 10 minutes of the view of the negative effects it will have on my positive momentum, I decided not to play video games and get back to work. But in that moment, it dawned on me of how many young men go through this same urge. It might be either an addiction you're trying to quit, but something that you know is detrimental to your life, and you're smart and honest enough to admit it. Not everybody has that kind of mental fortitude. So today, I'm going to teach you guys on how to break addictions. You don't necessarily stop that habit. You don't wake up arbitrarily and decide to stop playing video games. It never works. It's only a matter of time before you realize, because you're keeping track of how long you've not indulged in this activity. The first is you've you've decided to quit this habit, but you've not decided to give up the instant gratification this habit brings. When you indulge in that bad activity, whether it's playing video games or wasting your time, pornography, in that moment you feel good about yourself. But when the dopamine levels wear out, you relapse, you feel guilt, you feel a sense of letdown, but you decide you're not going to indulge in this activity again because of the way it made you feel. But it's only a matter of time before you find yourself back relapsing. So you're in this infinite loop of I'm not going to do it again, relapse. It's a never ending cycle. It's only a matter of time before you just surrender to the addiction and let it control you. You no longer try, and you no longer say you're going to stop. You just give up finally. This is the diagnosis. You've decided to give up the addiction, but you've not decided to give up the gratification it brings. When you're on page 64, when you're looking for that perfect video, when you're doing all those things, whether it's drinking or smoking, you feel good. There's a dopamine level it gives. There's a satisfaction you derive from that activity. That's why you revert back to it. So until you're ready to give up that satisfaction, that immediate feeling, especially when you're whooping your body's ass and you're like this king in the parlor. Everyone's coming, you're smashing them. Everyone's coming, you're smashing them. Everyone's coming. Instantly, you feel like a god, very powerful in that moment. So until you're ready to give up that feeling, you'll never break it. The second is identify all cues that triggers this addiction. Most of you say, I want to quit porn, yet you follow all these baddies. Your room is full of posters of hot girls in bikinis. You have 20 tabs open with different videos of people you're going to jerk off to. You're not going to quit porn that way. First is to take out all the trash, unfollow everyone on Instagram, unfollow all those TikTokers, delete TikTok app, constantly eradicate completely all those cues, eradicate all those things. If it could be movies, most of you watch movies even in the awareness that these movies contain a lot of nudity, and you do it consciously, so because you know it will ultimately lead you to that activity you're avoiding. So you're trying to create a legal bound where you pretend you're not aware of the resultant effect of your action, but you do it in pretense. So I'm not the one who wanted to watch porn. This activity led me to it. Especially in porn, you know when you are up all night by yourself, you're going to chance the likelihood that you revert to this activity is high. So there are a lot of activities, there are a lot of actions that once you take, it stirs up this addiction. You say you want to quit drinking, yet you're going to see a movie or football match in a bar, the likelihood that you take a cup of beer is very high. So identify all cues and triggers and totally eliminate it. The third one is this. Now you've taken step one and two, but suddenly there's this feeling of emptiness. The time you spend drinking, the time you spend on page 64, the time you spend looking for that perfect video, the time you spend thirst strapping on Twitter or Instagram is suddenly empty. You feel a void. That's why most people revert even after making all these changes because they are empty. Now you have to fill that void with positive actions. It could be reading a book. This is the time where you identify your goal. What do you want to do? Write out the steps. Write out what you want to do. Then break it into achievable goals, decade goals, yearly goals, monthly goals, and daily goals. Then you can start working towards that. Write out the activities and the three levers you would pull that propels you towards the direction of your goals. Feel this activity. If you don't know what your goals are, you can start going to the gym, you can start reading books. When you read books, it gives clarity to your thoughts. It could be, I admire this type of influencer. What do I admire about him? Let me start cultivating that trait in my own life. Purpose are not fully formed. The idea, there's this misconception about life that your goal has to be fully formed and rigid. You have to have this step by step plan on how to attack life. If not seen my video on purpose, go check it out. But that's not always the case. That is a fallacy, in fact. So, if you have no idea of what to do, maybe if you're here in Nigeria or Africa where gym is not as accessible as it is in the West, you can start by reading books. If you don't have money to buy books, technology have made it easier for transformation. With data of next to nothing, you can settle down. There are PDF books, there are videos and contents like this. If you don't like my stuff, you can go to other influencers. But the danger of that is don't let people influence your thoughts. Start thinking for yourself. You're a grown-up man. Think for yourself. Sit down and meditate. Not when I say meditate, I don't mean try to look for all these esoteric concepts or esoteric meditation techniques. Meditation is simple. It's the art of sitting still and doing nothing. Don't complicate it. Don't make it something other than that. Sit still, analyze your day, analyze what you've done so far to move you towards your goal. So, I believe with these three steps, you would achieve that which you seek. The first step, make a decision, a conscious decision to give up the instant gratification this activity brings. The second step is to identify and eradicate all cues. This is the second one. The third is fill that void with positive activities. Start interacting with humans. I'm hammering this pornography of a thing because it has destroyed many young minds. When you watch pornography, you begin to sexualize women. You see them as objects as opposed to people. You meet a woman, you're shy, you don't know how to interact. The first thing you do is either show her your bulge because that's what you've been taught on page 64, that once you show her you are aroused or try to flex your genitals, she too will respond positively. But that is disgusting. You do that and they will arrest you. Those are actors and it's mainly meant for entertainment. Don't do that stuff. Also, once you begin to start watching pornography, you avoid healthy interaction. There's this stuff to interact these days with humans, it's very difficult. And most people, instead of learning the people's, instead of going to YouTube and assimilating all of this information, instead of paying the price and the discipline to become a better person, why not take the easy route, which is jerk off all day? It's still the same thing. That is, you're only precipitating your own disaster, my friend. Imagine yourself when you're 35, 55, and you're still with this habit. No one wants to be that creep in the bachelor party who's fat, overweight, and has nothing going on for him. It brings low self-esteem. It does nothing good for you. There's nothing to gain. There's no positive effect that activity has on your life, whether it's drinking, smoking, weed. It might give you pleasure and satisfaction, but you know deep down with the cravings of your soul, this is not who you're meant to be. You know you're meant to be more. You know you can't be more, only if you believe and act. Act in accordance with that belief. As always, watch your family. It's a pleasure speaking to you guys. I'll see you in the next one.